Hey, you crazy mad lighting enthusiasts, it's Ron Howard from Extreme Sequences. I've got another tutorial for you. Okay, some people have been asking about the F48. Well, first of all, what's it look like? It looks like this. Ta-da! F48 differential controller. It's a controller. You know what it does? It controls. It's a controller. Like all other things, it controls. It's a controller. All right. Let's look at the difference between the interface on an F48 and the interface on something like an F16 2R or VR or whatever it is. It's the same thing. Look. Okay, so it doesn't exactly look the same. Like this one doesn't have the gray background and this one does. I guess because it's old school. It doesn't matter. It has network configuration. It has E131. Oh, it's beautiful. So beautiful. Look, 42. It has string ports. It has serial outputs. It's got help. It's got everything. And the F48 is no different. It has a network configuration. It has E131. Whenever it's ready. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm going to enjoy putting this. Thank you. String ports. It has string ports. So what's the biggest difference? Well, this has a total of 48 outputs. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, Ron, what if I just get an F16 and I add on, I don't know, a differential expansion, and then I also put on a 16 port expansion? It's 48. Why don't I do that? Well, I don't know. Why don't you? Here's why. I like to leave my receivers tucked up in places that might be a little bit more difficult to get so I can set it and forget it. I also like to call that future-proofing. So anyway, it's just another style or strategy for putting your light show together. That's all. But the main thing I'm trying to convey here is that the regular F16 is a controller, and you could expand it to 48, or you can buy an F48 that already has the 48, but there's other differences that I'm going to go outside and share with you so you can physically see the differences and also look at why you might use an F48 over using an F16. Recently I had a conversation with somebody and said, well, why don't I just get an F48 and use that for all my yard stuff? Well, there might be a reason you don't want to do that, because remember, there are no pigtails coming out of this F48. And if all of your yard stuff is within distance, within a practical distance, it makes more sense to have pigtails pushing out to those yards. Whereas if you've got high peaks on your house, you might want to consider something like this, because I can run a Cat 5, 6, 7 from here to the receiver way up top of the house and be able to hit at least four different models. So that's something to think about. Anyway, let's go outside and take a look at my setup. Okay, now we're outside, headed toward the garage I'm squeezing through to the F48. And this puppy's on. I'll click the button here. I'll click the right button. There we go. And you'll see it has an IP address. The same interface I was on a while ago is hitting this. This is simply taking an Ethernet cable, going through my wall, into my router, and that's how I get the IP address. Okay, you'll notice that these poorly labeled Ethernet cables here, a lot of these are mostly flat. I like these because I can tack them up really well or hide them. These all feed receiver stations. So I can power, or I can send data up to 12 receiver stations. So this controller keeps all the E131 data, keeps all the controller connection data, so it knows by the time it gets to the receiver what pigtails should go out on what universe, starting with what channel, and what is the FSEQ file going to tell this controller to relay to the receiver stations to tell the pigtails, tell the lights what to do. I could not ever do that again twice. You'll also notice down here, a lot of people are asking about, well, how are you powering your F48? Well, I just got a little barrel connector there. That's just a little 5-volt that connects over here into the wall. And by the way, just a quick shameless plug for Netgear. This is a managed Netgear with 16 ports I replaced my 8-port one with this. It gives me a little more room to grow, but not by much. And I really, really, really love it. It's a great little device, and there's my FM transmitter that I'm sure you've all seen before. All right, this one up here, that is my backup F48, just in case, or if I want to experiment and play with things, I don't have to mess with my show. So these cables here that are running, I have these things going up over my garage, up, over, and around that way to keep them out of the way. So let's go to one of my receivers. I don't want to say my first receiver, but a receiver. And this little puppy. Okay, so I'm on a ladder. I'll try to stay safe as possible. I'm going to open up my lid here. And you're going to see this is a 400 watt power supply. I've again labeled it. I did put a 20 amp inline fuse because I was unfamiliar with this power supply. And because they are tucked all over underneath my eaves throughout the front part of my house, I just thought an ounce of prevention was worth a pound of cure. And especially getting feedback from some of the other people that understand power better than I do. Ooh. Do I have one of those that are sticking? I do. Look at that. Look at that. I've got one of those that are not plugged in. I'm going to have to check that out. But anyway, so you can see up there, I have, let me just get this up. There we go. I've got a receiver. Looks like that's the white one of the newer receivers. And that's plugged in and powered by this power supply and feeding 4 pigtails. 2 of these. One of these right now is for the spider web. That's temporary. That's why that's unplugged. That was on purpose. That's temporary because this has a different plug on it. These lights, this came from Holiday Sequences, and he sent lights with this, so it was a different type of connector. So I unplugged that one temporarily. And then it also feeds a couple other things. The 2 that are up there right now that are hanging out, those are going to feed 2 living light show flakes that'll be hanging out in the left area over here and in the right area over there. Okay, so that's one of my receiver boxes. If we come over here, I have a mirror of that setup down on the bottom level here. Same thing. I have another receiver box up there that has 1 receiver in it, 1 power supply. And you can see these connections here going along the area to feed other props. I also have another F16 over there with just, I think, 7 or 8 outputs just to make up the distance because I only get 4 out of each receiver. Now I have 3 receivers up top. In the center, in that CG2000, I have the same power supply, 400 watts, and 2 receivers that takes care of all the windows, the snowflakes, the icicles, and the eaves up there. And then I have another tucked back in the corner up there, and that has 1 receiver, and that takes care, its only job is to take care of the eaves up top here and center, as well as the icicles on this side and center. And that's really kind of it. So what I like about the hello, you gonna do this? It's turning on me. Technology, yay. What I like about this is it makes it easier for these runs. That's kind of what I like about it. Anyway, look at you. Camera just wants to do what it wants to do. F48, battery must be getting low. Anyway, so I hope that was helpful in explaining what the F48 is. It is just a controller. It's a hub and spoke approach to getting data to far reaches that might make it more difficult to get to otherwise. So once you have it set up right, I like to call it set it and forget it. I shouldn't have to go up and mess with my receiver stations ever. You want to make sure those things are tightened down really good. I leave them powered up 24/7 and they just run. So that's what I like about those. And I leave mine up year round. So right now I'm really enjoying this bad boy over here, the F48 by Falcon. It's just a great controller. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to get answers to you as soon as possible. I'll make this video as soon as possible, get it out to you folks. And have a great day. See ya. Ron, you should be sequencing. You're an idiot. Go back and sequence. You don't need to